and welcome to LMR Live, an innovative interview series produced by University of Mississippi music students, hosted by yours truly, Professor Nancy Maria Balach, here at the university, and housed at the Powerhouse in Oxford. We are glad you are with us. We hope you are ready to talk. We hope you're ready to chat on YouTube or tweet us at LiveMuseRes or post something on Facebook. Be part of the conversation. Performing artists. To date, our viewers have represented all 50 states and over 70 countries. It blows my mind. Let's do it. Let's welcome Andrew Lippa. I'm excited.
This is so amazing.
So one of the things that I think is just spectacular about the two of you, beyond your individual artistry, is the fact that you have collaborated together in so many venues in so many ways, and it's thrilling. And I really want to focus on that today.
Lose this about you.
Mm-hmm.
But so breathing, is this common denominator here between singing and baseball. I mean, every time I see a batter go up, they step out, they take a deep breath to relax, and before Brady pitches, he takes a deep breath right before every single pitch, And the same thing for the singer, it's always going to be about the breath, or there'll be no tone.
Well, as we wrap up, I have one last question for you, Brady, that has come from the audience. Big question. In the future, Grammy or World Series ring?
Ooh. Let me think about this one.
Let's see where his true allegiance lies. You can say both. That'd be pretty cool. You could walk out to your Grammy Award-winning song.
There we go. Yeah, we'll go safe. We'll go with both.
Go both?
Both.
So we always play a little game at one of these, and you've agreed to this game. Let me fill everyone in. We ask them to show their students a picture of an instrument and even state what the instrument name is. And then these children came up with alternative names for the instrument. We're going to share those alternate names with Maestro Bias, and he is going to guess. He'll get one clue. If he doesn't get after the first, we'll do the second. Then if he can't get it, y'all are going to help, okay? So let's transition into our game, Kids View. All right, another from Milford Elementary School in Georgia. The Slidey Boom Boom.
The Slidey Boom. Trombone?
Nice. The other one I really love. They also said elephant nose, which I thought was pretty cute. Pretty cute. Elephant nose. All right. Big Belly Brass.
Tuba.
Yes. And then I liked the other one. It was Fat Trumpet Wannabe. I thought that was pretty good. I'm going to start using these, make them official terms. What do you think?
I'm all for it.
Well, thank you. Have a seat. About singers blame pianists for ruining auditions for them, and pianists are enraged by singers. So I love that it's very to the point, and it's something that needs to be addressed. I think I know someone here who might agree with me. So fantastic. They've graciously signed this, and you get to win it, Richard! Woohoo! And then someone on Twitter is also going to get the other one. We're going to share that. So generous. And something we didn't get to talk about is the teaching now that you're doing at the Debbie Allen
Master
School.
classes for Debbie Allen.
Yes, which is just a whole other thing that you're embarking on, but we're going to get a taste of that tomorrow in the class.
My teaching style is a little eccentric, so I hope you're ready to have some fun.
I can't relate to eccentric at all. No.
And I want to thank you for all of this. I don't know if you guys know how lucky you are that this exists here. So show up. This is so important. And if, we didn't have anything like this at NYU. I mean, it was incredible training, but there was nothing interactive like this. There was nothing extracurricular like this, and certainly nothing to be involved in for the students. So you're awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate
Well done.
that. I appreciate that. That means a lot. And I want to thank all of you for being here with us. Like us on Facebook. Follow us at Live Muse Res. And as I always say, the music revolution continues. Woo! And welcome to LMR Live, an innovative interview series produced by University of Mississippi music students, hosted by yours truly, Professor Nancy Maria Balach, here at the university, and housed at the Powerhouse in Oxford. We are glad you are with us. We hope you're ready to talk. We hope you're ready to chat on YouTube or tweet us at Live Muse Res or post something on Facebook. Be part of the conversation. Performing artists. To date, our viewers have represented all 50 states and over 70 countries. It blows my mind. Let's do it. Let's welcome Andrew Lippa. I'm excited.
This is so amazing.
So one of the things that I think is just spectacular about the two of you, beyond your individual artistry, is the fact that you have collaborated together in so many venues in so many ways, and it's thrilling. And I really want to focus on that today.
Lose this about you.
But so breathing, is this common denominator here between singing and baseball. I mean, every time I see a batter go up, they step out, they take a deep breath to relax, and before Brady pitches, he takes a deep breath right before every single pitch, And the same thing for the singer, it's always going to be about the breath, or there'll be no tone.
Well, as we wrap up, I have one last question for you, Brady, that has come from the audience. Big question. In the future, Grammy or World Series ring?
Ooh. Let me think about
Let's
this
see where
one.
his true allegiance lies. You can say both. That'd be pretty cool. You could walk out to your Grammy Award-winning
There
song.
we go. Yeah, we'll go safe. We'll go both.
Go both?
Both.
So we always play a little game at one of these, and you've agreed to this game. Let me fill everyone in. We ask them to show their students a picture of an instrument and even state what the instrument name is. And then these children came up with alternative names for the instrument. We're going to share those alternate names with Maestro Bias, and he is going to guess. He'll get one clue. If he doesn't get after the first, we'll do the second. Then if he can't get it, y'all are going to help, okay? So let's transition into our game, Kids View. All right, another from Milford Elementary School in Georgia.
The slidey boom boom.
The slidey boomer. Trombone.
Nice. The other one I really love. They also said elephant nose, which I thought was pretty cute. Pretty cute. Elephant nose.
All right.
Big belly brass.
Tuba.
Yes. And then I liked the other one. It was fat trumpet wannabe. I thought that was pretty good. I'm going to start using these, make them official terms. What do you think?
I'm all for it.
Well, thank you. Have a seat. Book about singers blame pianists for ruining auditions for them, and pianists are enraged by singers. So I love that it's very like to the point, and it's something that needs to be addressed. I think I know someone here who might agree with me. So fantastic. They've graciously signed this, and you get to win it, Richard! Woohoo! And then someone on Twitter is also going to get the other one. We're going to share that. So generous. And something we didn't get to talk about is the teaching now that you're doing at the Debbie Allen School.
Master classes for Debbie Allen.
Yes, which is just a whole other thing that you're embarking on, but we're going to get a taste of that tomorrow in the class.
My teaching style is a little eccentric, so I hope you're ready to have some fun.
I can't relate to eccentric at all. No.
And I want to thank you for all of this. I don't know if you guys know how lucky you are that this exists here. So show up. This is so important, and if we didn't have anything like this at NYU. I mean, it was incredible training, but there was nothing interactive like this. There was nothing extracurricular like this, and certainly nothing to be involved in for the students. So you're awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate
Well done.
that. I appreciate that. That means a lot. And I want to thank all of you for being here with us. Like us on Facebook. Follow us at Live Muse Res. And as I always say, the music revolution continues. Woo! And welcome to LMR Live, an innovative interview series produced by University of Mississippi music students, hosted by yours truly, Professor Nancy Maria Balach, here at the university, and housed at the Powerhouse in Oxford. We are glad you are with us. We hope you're ready to talk. We hope you're ready to chat on YouTube or tweet us at Live Muse Res or post something on Facebook. Be part of the conversation. Performing artists. To date, our viewers have represented all 50 states and over 70 countries. It blows my mind. Let's do it. Let's welcome Andrew Lipper! I'm excited!
This is so amazing.
So one of the things that I think is just spectacular about the two of you, beyond your individual artistry, is the fact that you have collaborated together in so many venues in so many ways, and it's thrilling. And I really want to focus on that today.
Lose this about you.
But so breathing,
Yeah.
is this common denominator here between singing and baseball. I mean, every time I see a batter go up, they step out, they take a deep breath to relax, and before Brady pitches, he takes a deep breath right before every single pitch, And the same thing for the singer, it's always going to be about the breath, or there'll be no tone.
Well, as we wrap up, I have one last question for you, Brady, that has come from the audience. Big question. In the future, Grammy or World Series ring?
Ooh. Let me think about
Let's see
this
where
one.
his true allegiance lies. You can say both. That'd be pretty cool. You could walk out to your Grammy Award-winning
There
song.
we go. Yeah, we'll go safe. We'll go both.
Go both?
Both.
So we always play a little game at one of these, and you've agreed to this game. Let me fill everyone in. We ask them to show their students a picture of an instrument and even state what the instrument name is. And then these children came up with alternative names for the instrument. We're going to share those alternate names with Maestro Bias, and he is going to guess. He'll get one clue. If he doesn't get after the first, we'll do the second. Then if he can't get it, y'all are going to help, okay? So let's transition into our game, Kids View. All right, another from Milford Elementary School in Georgia. The Slidey Boom Boom.
The slidey boomer. Trombone.
Nice. The other one I really love. They also said elephant nose, which I thought was pretty cute. It's pretty cute. Elephant nose. All right. Big belly brass.
Tuba.
Yes. And then I liked the other one. It was fat trumpet wannabe. I thought that was pretty good. I'm going to start using these, make them official terms. What do you think?
I'm all for it.
Well, thank you. Have a seat. Book about singers blame pianists for ruining auditions for them, and pianists are enraged by singers. So I love that it's very to the point, and it's something that needs to be addressed. I think I know someone here who might agree with me. So fantastic. They've graciously signed this, and you get to win it, Richard! Woohoo! And then someone on Twitter is also going to get the other one. We're going to share that. Welcome to LMR Live, an innovative talk show series brought to you from the University of Mississippi, produced by University of Mississippi music students, and hosted by yours truly, Nancy Maria Balach. We are so glad you are here to experience edutainment, where we combine entertainment and education into one entity. We make learning fun, and we get you involved in the process. Tonight, we continue our collaboration with the Sarah Isom Center for Women and Gender Studies. We had 2 events with them the week before last that were just fantastic. Don't you think, my Oxford folks? I don't hear you. All right. And we have 3 events happening this week in collaboration with them. And I want to give a shout out, a specific thank you to Teresa Starkey, Ella Starkey, and Kevin Cozart for their great collaboration and the work that's happening over there. I believe our organizations are offering innovative educational events that foster human connection, empathy, education, and understanding both on and off our campus. LMR remains focused to giving you the opportunity to interact with acclaimed experts in real time. We are proud to be making Oxford, Mississippi, the portal for this type of learning experience. So, we want to hear from you. Tweet at LiveMuseRes, chat on the YouTube feature, or post on Facebook. One of my dream team members over there, Hadassah Strong, is going to be on board just looking for those comments. Remember, the music research revolution continues. So, LMR Live is committed to showcasing Mississippi artists as well as bringing artists from across the globe to Mississippi. And tonight, we're sticking with that mission. We are focusing on Oxford, Mississippi's very own Price Walden. Who is Price? Price is a pianist and composer. He frequently writes works based on his experiences of living in the South. In October 2011, his large-scale work, Leaves of Green, premiered at the Lyric Theatre in Oxford, and this led him to be named by Southern Living magazine to be one of their first ever Heroes of the New South. He has a fantastic song cycle, which is going to be a big focus of today and this week, called Abide With Me, 5 songs of love that has been heard around the country, recorded by our very own Jos Milton, who you're going to meet in a little bit, and it was recorded for Albany Records. Price frequently performs as a collaborative pianist and a vocal coach. He's been music director for the University of Mississippi Department of Theater and for Ghostlight Repertory Theater. Do you want to meet Price? Do you want to meet him? Well, y'all know him, right? Woo! Bring him out. Come on, Price. Have a seat. So, Price, you are no stranger to LMR, right?
Long-time listener, first-time caller, first-time guest.
You're more than a first-time caller, though. I mean, well, we were talking before. I think Price and I have known one another for 8 years.
Yeah, about so.
About 8 years. That first portion, you were a student, just getting your bearings here at the university. And in 2015, you were involved in what we called this series The Beat. At that point, we changed our name to LMR Live, which is much better. And we had William Bolcom come, and I reached out to you and said, Price, would you be willing to write a work for us to do on the show and get feedback from Bill? And that sort of started, I think, our professional rapport, would you say?
And that was, it was a little bit like the first domino in a lot of ways.
That's right. Things just keep leading to other things. So I want to start at the beginning. He's so old. We got to go way back, right? What was your first introduction to music? What were your first musical experiences?
Well, so I grew up in Boonville, Mississippi, which is just about an hour and a half northeast of here. And I grew up very Christian in a denomination called the Free Will Baptist. And my mom played church piano and sang in church a lot. And so from what I can tell, because I went to church from about week 2, my first exposure to basically music of any kind would have been church music, which still 26 years later plays a huge part in my life. And there's something about the specificity of church music that has always just meant a lot to me. The fact that it's music that is supposed to point you to something else. If it does its job, you're not supposed to clap at the end. You're not supposed to think about how good the singer was or how good the music was. You're supposed to enrich your relationship with Christ. That's
transcend you.
Yeah, that's the object of church music. And there's something about that still I just find really wonderful, that it's not about the notes on the page, it's not about me, it's supposed to make you think about something differently. And like an altar call in kind of the evangelical tradition is there's music that you'll sing, and the idea is at some point during the singing of that song, you're supposed to go down to the altar and something happens. That music works with all the words that you just heard to make something else happen inside of you. And I find that really moving. Whether that specific religious context works all the time, I think that that's a really great model for what I like in music, that there's a moment.
When you're, not in the church and you're in the concert hall, are you trying to transfer that approach in that medium?
Yeah, because what I always think about in music is when I know that I love a piece or that a piece has struck me, there's a moment. It may not be the entire thing. There's always a moment that hits me, and you have to rewind immediately. Say, there's something that fired off in my brain at that point that I have to experience again. And it's a little bit like, I don't know, like a gambler or something when you win, but because we don't always win, unfortunately. But you find those pieces that you love, and there's always that one thing that just gets you.
Totally. And what's so great about when you're looking at music, that one moment, you have 100 people listening to that piece, it could be 100 different moments.
It could be 100 different moments, and that's the best.
Yeah, and that's something you and I talk about a lot, just the purpose that music can serve, the fact that music is a universal language. You can be at the opera, and you don't have to understand every last word, and the music can still speak to you. You don't have to understand how someone's playing the bassoon to fully get it. Back to this idea of being transcended, do you find artists who are able to move past themselves and just allow themselves to immerse into the music? Do you find?
Yes and no. I think that's a bit of a false dichotomy. I think, and this is kind of a radical notion, but I think that we were
radical.
I think that we were sold a lie for a long time that there is music that goes beyond itself and becomes this grand cathedral. And I think that that is a terrible way to talk about music, because I think that music is incredibly physical. I mean, down to it's literally physical in that it's just vibrations in the air that go into our eardrums and they vibrate and we create this whole thing in our head. But I think anytime we get too spiritual talking about music, we miss the fact that it's written by people, and it's written by people in places who were going through specific circumstances. And the more we learn about that, I think the deeper our connection to the music can be. Because I think when we talk about music as this in spiritual realm or anything like that, it gets way too mumbo jumbo, and that we shut a lot of people out. We act like there's a secret language.
Secret code you have to know. Yeah.
And there's not a hidden key that you have to go to the bottom of the ocean and unlock to understand this music. It's some music you just may not like, but there's probably something for you.
Totally.
And so I think that the more we can talk about the music in actual real terms, as far as real circumstances and real people in real life, the more we can connect with an audience.
I like that. And I think that idea of it being about the people and having that specific direction. I also like how you said that there's not this secret thing, so people don't feel like they're left out. I think where I was maybe going from a little bit is just thinking of these oftentimes young performers who get in their own way of feeling like it's all about me, I have to be great, I have to be this, and of course you want to do your best, but to sort of get out of your own way and be the vehicle to share this work with your audience. Make your specific choices, deliver it the way it speaks to you.
Yeah, perfection is the enemy in so many ways in this.
Perfection and the ego.
Yeah, it's in this line of work, we act, there's something to some of the most moving performances I've heard were not perfect, but they were the performances where somebody really invested.
Was human.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
really invested, and that's what we gravitate to.
Totally.
Is you can instantly tell whether somebody's being fake or not.
So I want to know, when did you realize you had something to offer as a composer?
As a composer,
Yeah, as a composer.
that's an interesting question. Well, when I first started writing music, it was not nearly as personal as the music that I write now, or I consider as personal as the music I write now. So I guess probably in the past 6 or so years was when I realized that there were stories that I had lived that weren't being told, and that I wasn't being necessarily represented in the canon at large.
Can I use your words?
Absolutely.
I'm going to tie this right in. I have this on my card. I'm jumping ahead. This is from Price's mouth. I'm throwing words at you, Price.
Oh, goodness.
So I talked about, we're going to be talking about his song cycle, Abide With Me, written for Jos Milton, who you're going to meet in a minute. But Price wrote, after the premiere of Abide With Me, a number of people came up to me and said, that was such a beautiful depiction of a relationship with God. An equal number of people said, that was such a beautiful depiction of a gay relationship. It was a trick question the whole time. You see, the art song repertoire doesn't have a lot of queer stories. There are different reasons for this. Art songs are usually meant to be performed by a person of any gender. Queer stories are only recently more publicly accepted. Classical music is somehow full of straight people, and if you're looking for art songs dealing with being a gay Christian, of all things, you're going to have an even harder time. It eventually dawned on me that I had something to offer.
Yeah.
You had a story to tell.
Yeah.
Those were your words. So that was a big twist, but you really do, and I think that's the key. It's like, what is my
Because
story?
I think that too often as performers, we settle for having to co-opt somebody else's story instead of truly being able to tell our own.
Right.
And luckily I'm a composer and I can just write my own.
But that has to be daunting. I mean, Ava Street wanted to know, how do you begin a composition? Does it start with a concept, a melody, a text, or something else? I mean, I would not know where to begin.
It's usually I want to talk about this emotion or relationship or something. There's usually kind of a little bit of a concept, and then I'm a poetry geek, and so I have an enormous library that I like to pull from, and I have a big drawer of poems that I'll eventually set to music. So it's a little bit chicken egg, but the poems find you at the right time. There's the same thing with the pieces. They find you at the right time.
So you start with the poem.
Yes, always.
Always with the poem.
Always.
So when, I should maybe segue to getting Dr. Milton up here, but I'm going to ask this question first. When you have that commission, someone says, I want to commission you. What's step one with Price Walden?
Usually, how long do you want it to be? And more importantly, how much are you going to pay me? Great questions. Always get paid.
Totally.
And then when do you want it?
Yeah. Because that's the novelty still, and we musicians find this. People are like, oh, you'll just do me a favor, right? You don't ask your plumber to do it as a favor, but we're willing to ask our musician friend, will you do it as a favor? No, you need to pay me.
But yeah, once all that logistic stuff is out of the way, it's really what's the next thing that needs to be told. And in the case of Abide With Me, that came at a point in my life where I was really starting to dig into, I can write very personal music. And this was by far the most personal thing that I'd written to that point. But for a long time, people like to seem like it's really kind of gauche to write personal music, but that's snobbery to the extreme to me, because it's all personal, because you put certain chords together for a certain reason.
Right.
You pick a text for a certain reason. So once I got past that, and I was like, no, y'all are all just kidding yourselves. I was like, no, I can really, my story's not being told in the art song format. What story is there to tell? What specifically can I tell? And the first thing that hit me was the old hymn text, Abide With Me, which is forever old and has a gorgeous tune that everybody knows and we all sing in church all the time. And I was thinking about those words at some point, and it says, abide with me, fast falls the eventide, the darkness deepens, oh, with me abide. And I thought for a second, and I was like, if you have to ask for something, you usually don't have it. And so while this hymn tune is really pretty, if you're asking somebody to stay with you and to not leave you, that music does not serve that. Then from there, kind of the idea of telling the cycle of a relationship formed. And I knew if I was going to use hymn text, I also wanted to use Walt Whitman poems because they feel a lot like hymns to me.
You're drawn to Walt Whitman a lot.
Very much so. He's, I'll affectionately refer to him as my Uncle Walt.
I like it.
That was, since that was the first book of poetry that I ever loved was in middle school. I somehow found my way to a copy of Leaves of Grass, and it was just blew my mind wide open that somebody could just love people that much and love everybody that much and speak in that language and create this idealized version of himself in those poems. And so I melded all that together, and it became kind of this portrait of what it was like to grow up as a gay Christian in the South, where that's not the norm. And yeah, what it's like to reconcile all those things.
We got a question.
Oh, I love
We got
it.
lots of questions. Holy mackerel. I love it.
Lightning round.
Okay, keep going.
Oh, no.
I'm going to go with Gabby's question.
Okay.
I think this works. Gabby wants to know, how do you respond to people who say you cannot be openly gay and a Christian?
I do it every day, so just to, I mean, it's obviously one of those things that I didn't accept myself for a long time, and so that comes out in the music, and that comes out in the struggles. But it's a very intimately personal thing that now I'm happy to share because I went through it and I worked it out for myself. Yeah, I mean, the main question is, why do you think that I can't?
Right. But I think that, and I, you know, I can't speak
Yeah.
for others, but
Without
I think,
going into a whole long rant
no,
about the
but
Bible.
I think I want to tie this to Abide With Me, though, because from the outside looking, you know, and what I've watched you write, literally write about that work, I mean, that whole process was very cathartic for you, correct?
Absolutely.
And played a key part in this.
That was, yeah, I
Journey.
wrote Abide With Me about two or so years after I came out, and that was really writing that song cycle and writing something that intimate and with text that meant that much to me, telling that story really it was like putting up a statue at the end of an era.
Right.
And that was to say that, no, I've got this figured out, and that this is what I have to say.
And it's immortalized.
Yeah.
Work.
And it's one of those where if I didn't tell that story, who else was going to?
Right.
Yeah.
So something that has happened when this work has been performed, you've gotten two very distinctly
Very different people from I.
different reactions, right?
Oh, very much so.
But I think the thing that's beautiful, one of the things that I find that's most beautiful about the work, and I think that this occurs with music, is that can create this environment where you bring forth this subject, but you haven't brought it forth in a way that's, okay, I want you to have this prescriptive reaction. You don't have to think this, you don't have to feel that, but I want you to feel something.
Well, the beauty of singing and kind of art song and vocal repertoire at large is if somebody sings something, you automatically believe them. This is kind of, it's true. This is why opera is such a captivating art form, because you see two guys in mass trying to tell their girlfriends they're different guys, and you just kind of go along with it because it's so easy to believe somebody if they sing it. It's true. Try it at home.
Try it at home. Well,
right back.
Carly, I mean, this is sort of tight. Carly wants to know, as a performer, how do I connect with a composer in order to fully understand and communicate his or her work? And tied to that is that, do I connect enough to be able to really sing it to then make it believable?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the music is just stories. Art song is kind of easily stories, because you are different at the end than from how you started. But I mean, even instrumental music, the classical era is about how we get from the one chord to the dominant and then through this crazy maze back to the one. And that's a story.
Right.
And that tells a story. For singers, and pianists who play for singers, we have it easy because we have words that tell a story. And obviously, that poet wrote that because of something that was going on. And they wanted to tell some story and some emotion. And then the composer had a different idea about it. And that's what's so beautiful about the art song repertoire is you already have two people's opinions on some emotion or relationship, and then you get to add your own opinion to how that goes. And the pianist gets to have their own opinion about how that goes. And then somewhere in the middle is the truth. But we don't all have to have it right.
I like that. Is there a right?
No, there's not. That's why we keep singing songs.
And that's what's so uneasy with folks nowadays, right? We all want to be right, or we want to know what's right, and sometimes you just don't have to know. I tell that to my students all the time, don't I? Yes. Random question, sort of, but then I want to get Dr. Milton out here. If you had the choice, would you have rather been raised in the North or the South? Isabel wants to know this.
Oh,
Do you think your journey would have been different?
Oh, I'm sure it would have been very different, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Wait, say the last part again?
I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Trade it for the world.
No, there's something about this place, for all its many faults, that is, it's just rich and deep.
It is.
There's no place like it.
I mean, I'm not a native, but I've adopted it.
But there's a reason. There's a reason people come here.
Absolutely.
And there's a reason people
stay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always a burger at heart, right? I'm always a yinzer. You know, I go back to my Pittsburgh roots, but I was meant to become a yaller.
Yeah.
I'm a yaller now. All right. I'm going to bring out someone pretty spectacular here, a tenor that I have the pleasure of working with at the University of Mississippi, Jos Milton. He is a busy performer and educator. His recent engagements include performances with Louisiana Opera, Carmel Bach Festival, and the Classical Music Festival in Austria. His debut solo album, Southerly, Art Songs of the American South, that we keep plugging, and you're all going to go get on iTunes, right? We can get this on iTunes. You all get it. I'm going to share some quotes, what people have said about him. Jos Milton has put together a very fine program of songs by living composers that reflect aspects of Southern life and culture. Milton's singing is exemplary, his voice is luminous, and his diction exceptionally clear. Help me welcome the luminous Jos Milton. Welcome. Thanks for doing this, Jos.
You bet.
A little different than us just passing each other in the hall.
Yes, very different. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Glad to have you. So I want to talk a bit about you two talking and working together on the creation of Abide With Me.
Okay.
What took you to Price?
Well, I was doing a recording project where I was exploring. I mean, since I moved here, I've been very enamored with the culture that spews forth.
Because you're not a native Southerner.
I am not. I grew up in Texas. It's probably where I spent the most years of my life, but that's different. They'd like to be their own country, actually.
Got some Texans in the house.
Very hard.
Yes. So I mean, since I moved here and when I got the job here, I'm just the richness in all art forms just brimming out of the South, and I was wondering how I could grasp that into some sort of recording, and pair it with my training as a classical singer. And I was collecting information about contemporary classical art songs that might have some connection to the South. Turns out there wasn't a collection of that was specifically geared to that, nor was there really that much material that really fit what I was looking for. I had heard Price's music on the Bolcom beat.
Beat at the time,
the
yes.
beat. And I was very drawn to his music, and I had gotten to know him a little bit in the studio and chatted a little bit, and I approached him and explained the project to him and what it was about, and asked if he would be interested. And I don't think I gave you very specific parameters. I just wanted to have your music with this sort of vein, and I knew that he would come forth with something great and abide with me as a result.
It is, I mean, it really, your performance of it, I've experienced it live once, I'll be hearing it again on Friday. It's just like, it fits you like a glove. I mean, it's just, I need a better analogy. It's just like this beautiful warm robe that just gets wrapped around you when when the listener gets to experience it. Your connection with it is just so profound.
Thank you.
Did that process happen very organically? Was it?
Yeah, it seemed to. I mean, we met a couple times for coffee at Square Books, and he would show me samples, and I'm like, yeah, I'm all over that, and this is beautiful. And he would talk about his influences, and we talked about the music that I liked, and we exchanged that. But it pretty immediately felt very, very gratifying, and I knew that he was on to something very exciting.
It was kind of an odd process because I don't think I asked a lot of questions. Which usually I try to be really collaborative, but this was one of those where actually I think that we originally talked about 10 minutes and it ended up being about twice that. I think it grew way past what either of us thought.
But you also knew him.
But so I didn't feel bad. I mean, you get more music for your money, so.
Are you talking about the length of the music?
Oh, the length of the piece. Okay.
That's true. I'd asked him, how much music do you want? I'm like, I don't know, 10 or 12 minutes, and that abide with me is just under 20, actually. But
it was one of those where once I had the idea, I knew that that's what it had to be, and so I kind of was just like, here's this thing, and here's more of this thing, and this is kind of just it. Hope you like it.
Pretty neat. Have you ever had anything written for you before, specifically?
Nothing of that size, no. I mean, and this was like the first official commission that I had done. So I'm very proud of it and honored to be a part of it.
So I'm curious, Jos, what do you hope people gain, learn, or understand when they listen to your CD?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. But you can do it.
I mean, we're the vehicle, we're the conduit for the stories, and the material's there for us. The instructions are on the page, the notes and the words, and I think it's our job, it's our calling as artists to put our stamp on it and to tell our story as truthfully as we can. So I hope that the disc represents my message as a singer.
Do you feel similarly to what Price and I were discussing, that you put it out there, your specific take, but then you're open to however your listener may take it? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I tell my students all the time, I'm not interested in teaching karaoke. Do not get the Schubert -1 CDs. I'm not interested in sing along with that. We want to tap in. I think as singers, we all have our unique specimens of clay that are molded in the studios, and that we can do what we can and peel the layers of the onion to get to our true, honest sound in our music. And then they can, and for people to react and respond to that however they may, you know. Some might like it, some might not, but we walk the plank and we put ourselves out there and try to be as honest with it as we can.
For sure. So, you know, this journey starts Price with text, and then you're putting your personal, very personal experiences embedded in this artistic work, and then you pass it off to someone very different from you. How is that transition? I mean, because we're all very different people, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit horrifying. Just because, especially something so personal.
So personal.
Yeah, so incredibly personal.
And it's not by someone who's dead, who you don't have to like hear what they think, or, you know, you doing what they intended?
And so it's one of those things where you're like, okay, I've created this thing. This is not your story, but I hope that you hope that by creating something so specific, what you find is that the more specific you are, the more universal it is.
I love that.
The more, when you're
Say that again. The more specific you are,
the more universal it is.
I love that.
Because same thing when we're interpreting music that's already written, the more we can attach a really specific emotion to it, the more there is to read from an audience member.
Completely.
Whether it's, if you're just trying to convey a general sense of love or sadness, that's completely phony.
Right, it's generic.
Yeah, and nobody wants to see that.
Right.
Whereas the more you can connect to something deeply and richly, and I don't mean in a method acting sense,
Or
anything like that.
self-indulgent, or
Yes,
right.
but we've all lived through something that we can put into something. We know what that feels like to be in love for the first time or experience some kind of loss. And so the more specific emotions you can put into something, the more ways there are to interpret it.
Definitely. So then we have it for tenor.
So then you have to
Jos
interpret it.
Milton has to interpret and do it. And then others want to do the work, right? Then we're passing it off. We go from
hopefully.
male to, yes, hopefully. Selling lots of copies, pricewalden.com. And you have a female singer that then ventures into this work that was written from a very personal male standpoint.
Yeah.
And let's meet the female singer who then performed these portions of this work, yes? So we have someone very special in town visiting us, someone who is a graduate of the University of Mississippi, Alice Ann Light. Alice Ann has been praised by Opera Today for her sumptuous mezzo, beautifully even tone, a very wide range, and a sound technique. She's finding success in opera, musical theater, art song, oratorio, and concert repertoire. Recently, she's performed with Opera in the Rock, the Arkansas Symphony Orchestra, Central City Opera, the Bar Harbor Music Festival, and the Utah Festival Opera and Musical Theater. Whew. I need to breathe more. All right. Besides getting a degree from the University of Mississippi, she's also has a doctorate from the UMKC Conservatory of Music and an undergraduate degree from Harding University. I am thrilled to have her back. I know Cynthia Linton is thrilled to have her back too. Let's welcome Alice Ann Light. Hello. So it's special having you back, but it's like, I don't know. I feel
weird.
like a proud mama bear because, you know, you were one of my students.
It's true.
So it's just,
you too could be sitting on this couch.
it's just exciting to watch. I just, on a side note, getting to do this job is just so amazing because you have students come in, and you are a graduate student. I mean this more with the high school students, and Jos can speak to this too, and now you're teaching. But you come in and to watch that individual just grow and develop and help them find their path and discover what it is they want to do. It is priceless, and it's so exciting. And then when they graduate and seeing what they're doing is just, it's the most incredible thing ever. Yeah. So fun to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you're the first female singer who has performed some of Abide With Me. How was that then, that transition from knowing Milton had done it, now it's going to Alisan, you know you and Price are close, you know the very specific journey of getting to that piece. Does any of that get taken into consideration?
Yes, and in my specific case, that happened later.
Got it.
I was in year 4 of a 3-year doctorate, and I needed something to sing for my final doctoral recital. And I had started a few other things, and nothing was really. I'm a big believer in you have to connect with what you sing, or else it's going to come off as phony, like you said. And so I had tried some other things, and nothing was really speaking to me. And then Price on Facebook, of all places, put on this, he wants to write, what was it, 300 songs?
The Schubert Project.
The Schubert Project. And I commented, ooh, I want to sing something of yours. And it was right after the premiere, I think. The recording was not ready. And somehow you just sent me a perusal copy of the score and said, here, look at this. And I said, yes, I will. And I took it to my professors, and they were kind of like, who's this kid? We don't know who he is, But I let them look at it, and on first listen, all of them were won over completely.
See, and that's so refreshing to hear, because when we think about a lot of new works, new composers, a lot of people, I'm going to call them out, are hesitant to do it because they're either fearful because it hasn't had the big time success,
right,
or they're lazy, that they don't want to spend the time to learn the new repertoire. I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
I mean, it's really true. So that is incredibly refreshing and fantastic. Yeah.
They loved it upon first listen, and they said, we have to do this. How can we tie it in? And then at that point, I went to Price and said, I really want to, I know this is not what it was written for, and like Jos is a tenor and I'm a mezzo, and those things don't translate, really, And what he sings, I will never ever sing. And so I looked at the score and I was like, okay, some of it's kind of high, but I can probably handle it. And I talked to Price, and he kind of said, okay, if that's what you want to do, let's try. And so I think I drove down over a Christmas break at some point, and I learned it all, and we went to his house and sang through it with him. And I just remember we finished the final chord, and he looked at me and he goes, it worked.
But how great of an experience when you actually are working the piece with the person who created it. It's such an amazing, magical moment.
Mm-hmm. We had a great afternoon.
Yeah.
I think we sang through it like 1.5 times.
More than
and
once,
then we spent like an hour and a half just talking about it.
Right,
which was the best.
And that helped me kind of figure out how in the world I was going to deliver this thing. Because it's a stretch. It's not my story at all, except for the Southerner thing. And I am a native. I'm a Southerner. And so that I immediately connected with that and the hymn tunes and all that kind of stuff. But he helped me kind of come up with a way, not only personally but academically as well, to situate this art song cycle so that it connected with what has come before it, and also points the way to what is yet to come.
I like that. And I want the students to remember that we always have to know where something started, where it began, so that we have to put our personal take on it, but then we have that foundation and that history for it to really stand strong, don't you think?
Yeah.
And then it can move forward, and you can take it the direction that you want, and then you're able to be true to it.
Right.
To have that performance where the audience is able to take from it what they want.
Exactly, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and it was really well received. And I think the things that we discussed and we paired it with brought out different aspects of it than I think had been explored yet. We're kind of handed this challenge with anything we sing, though, and I think that's what you're getting at. Nothing you sing is specifically your story. And so you have to find that kind of kernel of humanity, that connection point, and then from there, you can communicate with your audience.
So I want to ask you guys a big question. Big. So music brings people together. Now I should ask this. Does do you think music brings people together in a way that they're able to open their minds and hearts to topics that they might otherwise shut down? Do you think that's possible?
Yes.
Yes.
Say no,
I
Milton.
hope so.
Argue with them. No. Milton hasn't answered.
No,
I don't
I
know
do.
why I'm calling
I-
you
I-
Milton.
I-
Jos. I
Oh,
don't know.
Milton.
Milton.
Yeah,
I do. I think it's, I mean,
I
we're,
think, just like I was saying before, it's very hard to not believe somebody when they sing something specifically. But I think that we, as humans, have a real desire for connection and stories. This is why things like the Humans of New York, the blog,
Right.
we remember all that, went crazy bananas. I have the coffee table book. And people love it so much because it's just a stranger on the street asking somebody about their lives and taking their picture. And we love that kind of stuff. And so when we put it to music, that all of a sudden even goes one step further because it gives you an emotional language about something. To say not only is this somebody's story, but it has this arc to it. And it gets to this heart of something.
I want to put a question to you from Melanie Colhane. So she says that your music really does seem to do this. This does
Thank
this
you.
act. And she wants to know, is this a conscious decision on your part? I mean, is this something that you're actually thinking about when you're doing the writing?
Absolutely. Because, like I said, this, especially my music at this point, and especially the art songs that I write, come from very specific, I can show you journal entries about most of these songs.
Give us the proof.
Not quite. We're not
kidding.
quite that personal.
I'm kidding. Teasing.
But they come from specific relationships or things that have happened to me, and that's how I connect to a poem. And so that infuses itself in the song. And so, absolutely. Music's a way of, it's almost therapy in a way, of just a way to go work through these feelings.
Do you, either of you ever pick selections or works to sort of dive into a certain topic or to address an issue? Does that ever enter your mind when you're constructing a song recital?
I don't know if I'm that specific with it, but I mean, it's just kind of drawing on what you asked earlier about, you know, talking about sensitive subjects or, I mean, music is visceral. It taps into our core beings, you know, immediately. We're all here because we love music, and I hope. That there's a vulnerability to it that you can't achieve through any sort of, as well, I think, through any other sort of narration, whatever story that you're telling. It's our job, I think, as kind of stewards of humanity to tell these stories and to go to the places of conflict and go to the places that are. I mean, it's so boring if I go to a recital and everything's in a major key and everything's all about happiness. I'm ready to leave. You know. Let's go toward the discomfort. Let's go toward the sadness. Let's go toward the grief, and then have a little relief after that. We need that sort of that arc, don't you think, to have that personal journey.
What do you think, Alison?
I don't know that I've ever consciously said, I'm going to find a cycle about XYZ, except for maybe tonight at dinner, working on a new project.
Yeah.
But, you know, things come up in music. And music parallels life. And life is not always going to be smooth sailing. And so I don't think poetry is not, and music is not, nor is the learning of music. I always say what I spent in voice lessons, I saved in therapy. So, you know, we work out a lot through music and through our art, and I hope we allow our audiences to do the same with whatever comes up, whether it's run-of-the-mill sadness or, you know, something a little more specific.
Faith has a question along this lines. It's on a larger scale. Do you feel music can affect our political climate and bring to light two sides of one circumstance?
Why else would we do it?
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, it carries a direct message, you know.
Drop mic. No. What do you think, Price?
Yeah, I'm sure there is, I will say. Yeah, there's music out there for everybody, that says any number of things. I mean, there has to be, because there are composers who believe any number of things. And so there's somebody out there writing music for you. And I don't think that we should settle for just the dead white men of the canon anymore. That never was the world, and it's for sure not now. And so there's music out there that says something for you. You might have to look a little bit harder, but yeah, I think we owe it to ourselves and to our audiences to find the other music. That's what Allison and I actually were starting to plan a recital of, focusing on specifically alma mater's works, but women composers in general, because right now that's a huge underserved demographic in what we're putting on our recitals, unfortunately.
Well, like you're saying with the recital, you wanted to have a variation of emotions and moods and feelings, but within that music too, in order for it to really reflect the society and the community that we actually live in, there has to be variety of who it's representing and who's also created the work. And again, to me, that's a tie, even politically, right there, you know, that we want to make sure we're represented, right? Whoever that may be.
How can we pretend to be telling everybody's stories when we're putting one type of person on the program?
Right, one lens.
And as a performer, I find it interesting to, much like I did with yours, to go and look for stories that aren't yours. You know, you're talking about there's music out there for you that tells your story, and there's music out there that tells a story that's not yours. And the most challenging is the music that tells a story that you might not be on board with. You know, it's always, in opera, it's always most interesting to me to play the villain, right? Because that's way more fun, because I get to be someone I'm not, hopefully. But, you know, I found it really challenging to embody this story that was opposite of my own. I think it's important to do both as an artist. Art, music, and art, you know, more generally, should be provocative.
And wouldn't that be nice if in life that occurred more? You know, this idea of really, instead of judging the other side, if they're, you know, if we're looking at that way.
Go stand in their shoes.
Go stand in their shoes. Yes. Just dig deeper. Why are they coming from this standpoint? What is the history? Again, what is the story? There's always a reason. You know, that applies to life.
And that's the beauty of art song, is for 3 minutes, you're hearing somebody else's story.
Yeah.
You have to, unless you're going to get up and leave and be rude.
Right.
You're going to listen to somebody else's story, and then you're going to hear somebody else's story. And that's the beauty of a song recital.
And it gives you all the feels. I'm saying that because we're going to segue to our game. Hashtag all the feels, because Price's music just conjures up emotions. So we are going to shift and do our little video intro for our game and get things situated here, all right? Let's do it. All right, we are going to play hashtag all the feels, and we have this lovely mask that we are going to cover Price's eyes with. Here we go, Price. Let me see, I will try not to snap this on you and hurt you in any way. Is that comfortable?
Yeah.
All right, the Dream Team has put together this game. We have Vanna White here, actually Hadassah Strong, but we're going to give her that pseudonym for today. We have our box, and in the box, we have items that are related to music. I don't know if you with the audience can see what these things are. Some of them are dissembled so that it makes it a little bit harder for Mr. Walden. So, I'm going to give me your hand, yes, and you're going to go inside, and you're going to reach down deep and feel around and see if you can guess by all the feels.
There's a lot of things.
Yes.
Oh, is this a recorder?
Ding! You got it right!
Yeah.
He's gotten one correct. Give him a round of applause. All right. Number 2. The box is in front of you. Yes. Are we enjoying seeing him struggle a little bit?
It's,
Just a little bit.
it's every time I put my hand in the box, it feels like I'm at a haunted house. Yes. And it's going to be a bowl of peeled grapes.
Or cooked spaghetti, like it's brains, right? Yes. Pass the cat. Isn't that what that's called?
What?
Never mind. Sorry. I'll post that later. It's, yes, you know what I'm talking about.
Is this a pitch pipe?
Ding! 2 for 2!
Thank you, thank you.
Price has got all the feels. All right.
Oh, boy, do I.
Boy, do I. All right. Back at it. Number 3, reaching in.
Oh. Oh, it's just heavy. Oh, there's buttons. Are those buttons?
I can't say. Yes, they are buttons.
Can I have a hint? Any help?
It requires either batteries or electricity.
Well, so do I most days.
It could increase volume.
It's some
Nowadays, they're wireless.
Is it some kind of? It's not a microphone.
It's not a microphone, no.
Not a speaker.
Ding!
Oh, it is a speaker?
It's a speaker!
That's a weird speaker.
Yay! It is a little bit of a weird speaker, but it is a speaker. Oh, that was a tough one,
Excellent.
Hadassah. Good work.
That was.
On that one. That one was very good. Oh, this one's so light. Okay. In you go.
Okay.
3 for 3. Not too bad, right?
Oh. What's in the plastic?
You can take it out, but you only have one hand.
Well, I don't know that I'm that talented. Oh, maybe I am.
Oh, you are. You are. You're a pianist.
Aha.
What are you talking about?
Oh, it's a tuning fork.
Yes! 4 for 4. And last but not least, in you go.
I like the fringe on the
Isn't
top.
that a nice touch?
It makes it, yeah.
Nice touch.
It's an adventure.
Faith, you did a good job. Good box decorating skills.
Oh my gosh. What? Oh. It's what do you call these things? A metronome.
A metronome. Great!
We just need 99 more and we can do that lickety piece.
Give
Thank
very
you
good
very
price.
much.
Very good. I'd take the mask off your hands. Should I take your glasses?
No,
You
I have them. I hope.
You did pretty well.
Thank you.
I was thinking I was going to have to maybe pull the audience a little bit down, but you didn't even need it. You didn't even need it. Let me just look here. Some of the other questions that have come in. Carly wants to know how, and this could be for any of you, how should a performer approach music differently from a church setting to a secular one, or is it the same? We got more. Oh my goodness, I think I'm coming undone.
To me, it's the same.
The same?
That's a personal standpoint, but
I mean, I think there are times when we have to consider our audience, just
Yeah.
depending on the content. But
I think what you're choosing for a church setting versus a secular setting.
it will take care of itself.
Yeah.
Got it? Yeah. You agree?
Agreed. Yes.
Good.
For the record.
Price.
Yes.
Cody wants to know, how hard is it to fit the song to the person you are writing it for? Depends on the person.
Depends on the person. Oh, if only you knew. Yeah.
He's speaking of you, Jos.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a terrible experience. I'll never do it again. No,
I'm out.
I think the main thing is just that both of you are very honest up front about what you want to accomplish, what you're able to accomplish, and then just be willing to talk about it with the other person, I think. Luckily, I've had very good experiences so far.
Price got a kick. I think I tickled him when I was putting the tracks together for the CD, and I sent him a text message like, Price, it turns out you're the youngest composer on this CD by 37 years.
Yeah.
By 37 years.
Yeah.
And when I did the recital with Melinda, in lecture form down at MC, and somebody came up to me and it's like, oh, there's a typo. I mean, I'm sure that Mr. Walden was not born in 1991. Like, actually he was.
Actually, he was.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're telling my age.
Yeah.
No.
She already told it.
We already just said. But
You said 26
it's in your
years or
bio
something
too.
like that.
This is an important thing though, because back to, a mission of LMR is to showcase, and give a platform for rising performers, right? And back to this idea of if we're going to be lazy or fearful, we're not going to jump in. I mean, kudos to you, Jos, for jumping in like, I'm not seeing age, I'm not seeing this, I'm just seeing someone that I want to collaborate with and letting that work be created and putting it out there. And
Yeah, I mean, it's got to happen. I mean, just think about like when Bach was in St. Thomas Church, You think they wanted to hear the same cantata that they just heard, a couple weeks ago?
Right.
It's got to be new music all the time, and we Schubert is great, and Mozart, and even earlier American composers too. But they get performed quite often, and why not tap into what's being created now?
absolutely, absolutely. Very nice. All of you, was there a specific major moment or event in your life that spurred you on to, I'm going to shift this question a bit, to become a musician? That this was like, this is going to be my career?
Yeah. Can I go first?
Please.
Absolutely.
I kind of came upon a music major accidentally because my first plan didn't work out for various reasons, longer story. And so I just happened upon the music department at Harding University, and I went to Nats my first year, having no idea what that was. It's a competition that young singers go to, and as a part of the competition, they have some singers participate in a master class, and I had never been to, I didn't know what a master class was, never been to a master class, and
She didn't know what it was, but on Friday, she's doing a master class here with our students,
yes,
so watch
at
out.
1 on Friday.
She's come a long way, baby.
And I remember sitting in the audience, and the first singer sang, and then the master class teacher came up and tweaked something, and in 20 seconds, that singer sang again, and it was completely different, and I said, I want to do that. And that was that moment. And I said, I want to be a teacher that can do that. I didn't know the secret is like, no matter what you do, the second time they sing it, it's better because they're not nervous. So there is that little secret. But I do remember that moment now.
Neat. Is there a moment for you, Jos?
Yeah, I think there was. As an undergrad, I was just starting to get a few little, jobs to sing at different functions, and I think I did a Christmas Messiah performance at a church in San Antonio, and there was a little reception afterwards, and this elderly couple came up to me and they said, "Thank you for your music. It really spoke to us. Like it felt like you were really it's heartfelt," and I can't remember the exact words, but I think a little something went off, like maybe that my music could affect people's emotions somehow, and that I think that's maybe when the fire started in there, and then I felt that might be the road that I wanted to take.
Neat. How about you, Price?
I always tell people the last job I wanted before musician was president. So that's, yeah, I was young enough to think that I could still be president. But yeah, it was immediately once I learned the piano, it was just like seeing color for the first time, basically, or learning a language. And then when I had kind of my first real piece premiered, that was sometime around junior year of high school, and just that feeling that something I had made up in my bedroom was now being experienced by hundreds of people, and feeling all that love, I was completely sold.
Neat.
Never turned back.
Neat. Well, it's time to give some thank yous to some folks. I want to thank all the friends of the Living Music Resource. Thrilled that you are experiencing the arts with us. I want to thank the Yaknapatawpha Arts Council, University of Mississippi Music Department, Sarah Isom Center, and the Inn at Ole Miss for their support. I want to thank the Dream Team. They really are a group of amazing students who are learning skills outside of the classroom to make them marketable in the 21st century, and they are amazing. We have Faith Janicki as our lead camera operator, Melanie Colhane as our live stream technician, Lacey and Ava as sound technicians, Hadassah Strong as our social media coordinator, Jocelyn Sanabria as our visual coordinator. I want to give them a huge round of applause. This is only the beginning of events this week. If you are in Oxford, please be here Friday at 1 o'clock to experience a Between the Bar Lines masterclass with Dr. Alice-Ann Light. She'll be working with some of our students. And then that night, get ready for a concert experience entitled A Song of Songs. And I mean, this is going to be an experience. We have a killer cast of folks, right?
Absolutely.
Price Walden, Bruce Levingston, Alice-Ann Light, Jos Milton, Bradley Robinson, Amanda Johnson, myself, plus 8 music majors who are on this concert with us, doing works by Price, Benjamin Britten, Aaron Copeland, Alma Mahler. The list goes on and on. If you're not in Oxford, don't worry. These will be put on the website, and you can check them out there after the fact. Something we're going to do on Friday, text is really important. We said that Price's journey starts with the poet. So when you come Friday, you'll be greeted at the door and given a fortune cookie, as I am thus demonstrating. And get ready, here comes one. And when you, nice catch. And you'll come to the door and you'll get your fortune cookie. And inside this fortune cookie will be a little snippet of a text from 4 of the poems that are found on the program. There are more than 4 poems, but 4. And mine, for instance, says, "Since you love me and I love you, the rest matters not." You'll come into the theater, and we're going to have 4 poetry stations where you will explore and find your full poem, where there will be someone reading the poetry for you to experience in its entirety and to set the mood for the experience. They're crunchy and good, are they not? They're really good.
Really good.
Fortune, what is it? Fancy fortune cookies. They're great. So you're getting vested in the experience from the get-go. When you're in the program, you're looking for your text. That, just like Price starts with a text, on Friday, we're going to do the same. We're going to start with those words and then venture into the music and hopefully have an experience where we each walk away with a different realization, a different, I don't know, and that we get hashtag all the feelings, right? You won't have to put your hand in a box, though, I promise you that. All right, so we are about to decide who our winner is. Hadassah, do we know? So in our house here, people have been tweeting, and we are giving away a happy bag to the person who has done some super tweeting. And in this gift bag, this person is getting the CD we've talked about. You won it, don't you? Yes. And we have a cup, a mug, and a T-shirt. So Hadassah, who is the grand winner? This is going to be good. Uh-oh. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. Keely, get up here. Get up here. You are my hero. Wait a minute, let me double check this number. This young lady, who I have the pleasure of working with in class, she has tweeted 148 times.
Yeah! All right.
Give her a hand.
I don't know.
Your thumb action must be incredible.
That's horrifying.
Are you a good pianist? No. No, all right. We got to work on transferring this talent to the keyboard. Sorry to hit you. Okay, congratulations. So, oh my gosh, I am impressed. I think I'd still be on like 4. I don't know. Wow, to be young and spry. All right. I now seriously want to give a big thank you to the people sitting over here. Price, thank you for being an incredible creator and collaborator, and for sharing your story, because you do have something to say, and we do want to hear it. Thank you. Jos, you're an incredible colleague, you're an incredible artist. Thank you for putting this CD out there, and it's quite an experience. I hope all of you will be here Friday to hear it. It's quite divine.
Thank you.
Alice Ann, so exciting to just see everything you're doing and to watch your journey unfold. And again, I'm sort of a proud mama bear, but also it's exciting then to watch your student move from being your student to your colleague. And it's a pleasure to have you in the realm of the voice teachers and performers. I don't know,
Thanks.
that sounded sort of hokey, but I mean it. And I want to thank all of you for being here and watching. Remember, the music research revolution continues. Woo!